Hello, bug friends. Welcome back to our series where we take a meandering path and we go through the different insect orders and we talk about where those Greek roots came from and how they help you identify the bug. Today, our quest leads us to the fleas. The fleas are in the order Siphonaptera, and by this point, we've done this a few times. I'm sure you're like, Terra means wing, and it does, and you'd be so close, friend, so close. But in this case, we're actually looking at the first root aptera, which means wingless. The A in this case is important. We even use this word to describe insects. Apterous insects are those without wings. So we have aptera, wingless, and then siphon is referring to the mouth parts, which are piercing and sucking, and siphon just means tube. So you have the wingless tube insects. That's what fleas are. All insects have basically the same kinds of mouth parts going on, except a lot of them have been modified and or fused together to create different structures. So for example, the siphon that you see in Siphonaptera, that tube-like mouth part, is constructed from the basic insect mouth parts, but they have just been fused together and arranged slightly differently. We're not going to go into it. I don't think you need to know all of the inner workings of how the flea mouth part is constructed, but maybe if you're interested, we could save it for another video. Please remember that my entire YouTube channel is supported by my own business. I conduct tours here in Ecuador. I am doing an upcoming tour with my friend John from Stated Clearly, so stick to the end of the video to watch our selfless promotion. Thanks. It helps support the cause. Now, unlike some other order names that have been tossed about and moved around, this order name very accurately describes the insect, what you're looking for when you're trying to identify it, and also gives you a lot of clues about its biology. Fleas are parasites, infecting your cats, dogs, rats, lots of different things. In fact, they are responsible for the bubonic plague, which we could talk about in a whole nother video. Essentially, it's a bacteria-filled bloody flea vomit that caused the plague, but we'll save that for another day. Many parasitic insects don't have wings. Why would you? You don't need to really move from one food source to another. Yours is alive and continuously feeding you. Plus, wings would get stuck in hair, break off very easily, or even be a means for whatever creature that you're feeding on to be able to grab you and pull you off. If you've ever tried to get fleas out of your dog's fur, for example, their flattened body and the little things, they have these little, what are called combs, they're little extensions of their exoskeleton that help grab onto the fur. They're very difficult to remove. While fleas are wingless, that doesn't mean that they've lost the ability completely to move somewhere else in case the going gets tough. They do have really powerful hind legs and they can hop 50 times their own body length. And so that essentially replaces the need for wings. They can move from one host to another if the going gets tough. They can hop onto a host if they aren't on one, and basically replaces what wings would be doing for them in a way that wouldn't damage or impact their lifestyle. Fleas are so bouncy and springy and can save so much potential energy, very much like a pogo stick, that scientists are trying to study the resilin protein to see if we can make anything similar to that, so that way we can make our own substrates and surfaces and materials that are very springy and bouncy as well. Fleas do have a complete life cycle. Just like butterflies, they do have eggs, larvae, pupa, and adults, which is why if you are ever taking care of your dog or your cat with fleas, you have to do the treatment for an extended period of time because the eggs are not susceptible to a lot of insecticides and medications that you could be giving your pet. Fleas may not be their own order for very long. It is currently standing as their own order as of the time that I'm making this video in 2023. However, a paper in 2020 came out suggesting that fleas are actually very closely related to another group of insects called the Mouthparts, which we'll get to. Those are like Scorpionflies and hanging flies. It seems that through some genetic work, the fleas pop out kind of in the middle of the Mouthparts phylogeny. So until that is settled and more research has been done and a couple more phylogenies are created, we haven't officially made the move that Siphonaptera are not their own order anymore, but just know that that might be coming. Well, friends, there you have it. Fleas, the wingless tubes.
Hello people of the internet, John Perry here. In today's video,
I just found this pile of crazy stuff that washed up on the beach.
Hello, bug friends. My name is Nancy. I am an entomologist. That's my master's degree, haphazardly taped to my wall back there. And I conduct tours of Ecuador focused on ecology, conservation, and bugs.
if all you eat is leaves, you're probably picky.
I like that there's a stick for reference.